see Basha without Deva's music?
Yeah.
Or remove Raghuvaran and see the film? Or the action interval block has that impact? All these things are very important to understand that it is team has brought that element in. Nagma is superb in that. The glamour and the way she carried herself. Anthony, Mark Anthony, a voice came.
Right.
He has sunk into that character. He was going into that. I didn't know that. And it was so, I turned and ran. Anthony, Mark Anthony. I said, sir, this is what you want, isn't it? Yes. I'm doing it, man. How many films were done after that?
Right.
So many Telugu films, Malayalam films. Everybody have been doing this formula for quite long, and still they're doing.
And I think they will continue to do it because it's a successful formula.
So that experiment helps you to challenge yourself. Okay, when you try something like this, it works. But that is risky also because every time you can't do it.
right.
When Basha they wanted to do in Telugu, so Rajini sir suggested let's do it Mohan Babu sir. I love Mohan Babu sir, he's a great actor.
I worked with him also.
Later only I worked.
Yeah.
Then at that time I said, sir, I think it will be better for Chiranjeevi sir because that kind of cinema he is doing, he will suit this. They actually called, Rajini sir called Chiranjeevi to do Baga Untundi Meeku, but he was stuck with 3 films at that time. Then they dubbed the film. It went on to become a sensational hit. So the point is, already that stardom should have, then Basha works.
Right.
So if you make a superstar film, an action film, there should be, if the image is there, it works. Then there's no image with a new star boy who have to bring in, then you bring a lot of other elements. It's not easy. This script will not match there.
Welcome to Screen. This is Avinash Ramachandran. Today we have with us veteran filmmaker Suresh Krissna. Welcome to our show. So firstly, we are going to speak about probably the most iconic Tamil film that's been ever made, 30 Years of Basha. So firstly, I want to ask, did it ever occur to you that a film that you made will be spoken about not just on those anniversary days, but on a day-to-day basis? Like everyone, every day say something about Basha.
First, thank you for talking to me. We make all films to be a Basha. The idea of every filmmaker is to make a successful film. But there are some, only very rarely it happens. Like I still remember Ramesh Sippy's dialogue on Sholay. He said films like Sholay are not made, it happens. That is as true as ever. Because you have the same director, the same actor, the same music director, everything you can have. But still there is something which the audience just love it. And they want to keep on saying it. What it is, nobody knows. There have been so many filmmakers over the years. They all try that. A film will be successful to maybe for that year or for a few years. But to surpass and continue for 30 years, and as you very correctly said, talking about that film somewhere by any way, memes or somebody's talking about or somebody remaking that film in some other language. It has been happening for 30 years and it's just amazing. I'm truly fortunate in that sense that I'm part of that film because me, Rajini sir, we wanted to do an extraordinary content and we were very confident that it's going to come out well. But that it will come to this range and this euphoria over the years, it's truly magical.
But my favorite thing about how Basha came up is that it's from a one-liner.
Yeah.
As in one scene which was not there in Hum, which is the original inspiration. But then the one scene which is not there became the seed for Basha.
Yes.
So how did that come about? Because you have a successful film already. You want to take that and make it into Tamil. But then you're using a scene which is not there and then you're making it do something completely different. People who have seen Hum wouldn't have even related that to Basha. So how did that writing happen?
See, it was during Annamalai, when I was working with Rajini sir, he was at that time doing Hum. So one day I think there in Ooty, Ramitabh sir, Govinda and Rajini sir were all shooting and they tend to talk. So there was a scene which they all discussed in which Govinda is not getting a seat.
Mhm.
And Amitabh sir goes inside the glass door and he talks to that person and he gets it. And the man is shivering, the man who talks to Amitabh, because he probably tells him something which the audience will not
Right.
hear. That scene, Rajini sir one day came and told me, what do you think about this scene? I said, it is such a teasing scene. Teaser money,
It is. Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could, I want to know, tempted it is. What do you want? What is the next? What next? That kind of teaser it is. What happened? I said, no, Mukul Dev said it doesn't suit my film. It's a very good scene, but it will not work for my film. So that left.
Right.
That idea just put. I said, very good, sir. It's fantastic. It was just a casual thing. Then the film Annamale went on to become a record hit and all that. Then came another idea of Rajini sir, let us do Veera, a Telugu remake. I saw the film and I said, sir, after doing
Completely not your style also.
what is this? Two wives and all that, sir, let us not do. I put a list, that left side, the success of Annamale, why? And now all the minus in this film. I put it in paper and showed it to him. He said, he laughed. Then he said, I understand your concern. I'll tell you something, he said. Annamale took me to another level. That is, it has become one of the biggest hits. Till that time, Shiva, some film had come at that time, and Annamale went on to become 25 weeks in all the theatres. Every center it was 25 weeks, which was a record at that time. So I said, Veera, this idea of, that hum idea, can we do it? It will be very good. He said, that's a very good idea, but there is one problem. You are unnecessarily competing with your previous film.
Correct.
When a director and actor do a film, the audience will always compare to the previous film. Let us tone it down. Let us bring down the craze of Annamale. Then they will ask you, Veera will be successful. But they will ask, I wish it was like Annamale.
Correct.
Then give Basha. That was his strategy.
Right.
It was a very amazing strategy. He knew the pulse of the audience and he was very clear on that. So he said, whatever changes you want to do in Veera, do it, but let us do it. Or chinna, small film, but it will be very entertaining, comedy and all that, musical. Did it, went on successful. The day it was released, the same day he called up and he said, announced to the press that we are doing a film called Basha and Suresh Krissna is directing. That is our next film. We didn't even have a script.
Right.
We only had that scene.
Idea, that scene. Yeah.
So he said, okay, we announced it. And he asked me the title. It was his idea, Basha. He said, I said, the Muslim title and but sounding wise, it is terrific. That our sound is always good.
Yeah.
He said, I said, okay. Then he said, come on, now let's start writing it. I said, from that scene, that's it. So myself and Rajini sir went to Hyderabad. We stayed in a hotel. And he said, I want you to look at this in a different pattern. This is this idea. How are we going to make it into a full script now? Hum should not come.
Correct.
We are not doing hum. That's what for sure he said. Then I had this concept that small scene had so much impact of the idea they discussed. I said, if that is going to be the theme of behind the glass door, what's happening? Can we keep that as a first half? The whole first half will be who is he? Who is he? Probably interval will be the band. This concept. Then second half we unleash the flashback.
Because hum was a linear story.
A linear story. So then it will be totally a new concept. It's very risky. Very risky because we have not tried anything like that before.
Right.
Another is the first half will be, second half is going to be so violent, we have to show is non-violent.
Right.
So there will be no Rajinikanth's actions. There won't be any kind of entertainment in that sense.
He gets beaten up.
Or reverse it has to be. Because when you make, it was like small and big, you need to bring him down to the deepest pit and then take him out.
Correct.
So every scene was leading to that. So, okay. Let us now first, he has brothers there. Make it sisters.
Right.
And sisters means again, age will be a problem. Make it as a stepsisters. So stepmother, stepsister, which is more, the sacrifice becomes more.
Right.
That not for his own sister, but for his own
it's a promise.
Promise for his father.
Yeah.
And then all that, his promise is to his father that I will leave that past life and take care of this. Actually, that is the core story.
Correct.
If you look at everybody will talk about his revenge story with Basha.
It's about that Valakku, that three.
That three Valakku,
Yeah.
core story.
Yeah.
Or person, he has promised his father that I will take care of these three. My brother and two sisters, I will take care. One wants to become a police officer, another wants to study doctor, another is getting married. He's not greatly educated. So this concept, so everybody should have a problem.
Correct.
In which his identity may be revealed. So the next has to come to that. That is why he's a police of getting into police is a difficult thing because he and his crime will get into a situation.
Correct.
But he thought no, the idea is bring him a character from the past.
Right.
A kitty character has become a DIG.
Correct.
He has seen him. So we created that. Okay, he didn't tell, but he knew. Then one day he see when he comes to when he's getting beaten, he saw it and he found that Basha is so totally quiet. He's like living a Manikam's a new life. So he understood. He didn't reveal his identity as a cop. Now next is his own sister wants to medical. Now unless that man what he asked was very bad, created the worst thing. You come to my guest house.
Correct.
Now if he goes and beats, his problem is his identity will be revealed. So what he does, he goes and closes the door and he reveals only to that guy.
Correct.
I have another name. And he put in flashcards negative. To the audience, we have to hold it.
Correct.
Only the creating of a impact comes out. What did you say? I just told the truth. So slowly, now the worst was, even for the sake of another sister, he is ready to fall at that man's feet.
Correct.
To get her married. All these things were only creating that.
The completely egoless person.
Egoless person. And everything from the other person. Mother says, you don't know who he is.
It's always a tease.
Yes.
It's always a tease.
Otto is stone. Mother knows.
Yeah.
All the other people are there. Henchmen are there. He says no.
Yeah.
So you know he can do it, but he's not doing it.
So you're waiting for it to happen.
When he's getting beaten also, we know that he can hit back. It's laughter and all the answer.
Correct.
No dialogues there.
Yeah.
So all these things were what we were discussing in how to make it impact in the first half.
Because, recent Aburo Sangeetham show that Mr. Kamal Hassan had, he spoke about how in Aburo Sagodaragal it was important to make the Raja character much more interesting because Appu character will have its own thing. Similarly here, that Basha will be that flamboyance, there will be all action. You have to concentrate on making Manikam very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah.
So, and one thing I like about the way you were expressing this thing is that you don't take the full credit. You're always saying like, I sat with him, I sat with the action choreographer, you spoke with the composer. How secure are you that you can say these things? Because not many people do that, no?
See, it is very important to understand that a film is a teamwork. Now, MS Dhoni says that I can win that CSK team. He leads the team.
Yeah.
For India's Cup, he leads the team. So, team is 100% required. He can motivate, I can bring the best of everyone. But finally, I take the final call. But the whole thing has to be teamwork. You just see Basha without Deva's music.
Yeah.
Or remove Raghuvaran and see the film. Or the action interval block has that impact. All these things are very important to understand that it is team has brought that element in. Nagma is superb in that. The glamour and the way she carried herself. Devan character was interesting.
Yeah.
The songs, choreography by Tarun Kumar was interesting. My cameraman, the way he showed Basha, P.S. Prakash was. So, my editing, Ganesh Kumar. So, it is very important to give the due. And I take even a small suggestion from anybody. I will not, I'll at least give a year to it. See, there are many people who make a script and they won't change it on the shooting. But I always keep some room for that.
Okay.
We have that element of suggestions. But I know the bird's eye view, I will have it. Because I know this will deviate or this will help. I will always know that. But like I'll tell you that scene where Rajini sir gets beaten up. Now that scene was not like that. Or even Anandaraj's character was not there.
Okay.
It's not there in the first half. That unleashing, we needed to do it. So when this whole thing I discussed with the fight master Raju, he came up with this brilliant idea.
Okay.
It was a very simple thing which was discussed heavily. Like he said, if the police officer character beats Anand Raj character, and he takes the brother and ties him, that could have happened.
Yeah.
But his brother says, I will take, I on his behalf, he beat me. The sacrificing character.
Again, the whole.
Again.
Yeah.
Now, this element, when it brought, there was a discussion there. I liked the thought. But was it okay? Was it okay? I mean, it was very unusual situation.
Correct.
Why will anybody do? But he does it. And then he gets beaten, he just laughs. So all these things, that character was created. So we need somebody like powerful like Anand Raj, who can only be, or else any local henchman can do. But you need an actor who is capable enough to, with Rajinikanth, he has to stand. Anand Raj had that capacity. So we called him, we brought. So everything from one spark, another, then the character coming into the Anand Raj, hitting him, then say, hey, he beat him, he hits him. Then during that scene and I'm shooting, R.M. Veerappan sir called me. I said, what are you doing? You can't tie Rajinikanth and hit. I had a problem. But we discussed him, made him understand the idea, how we are working it out. Then he said, okay, I'll see the film and decide. We had till he saw the first stuff, we had a doubt whether, if he says no, we have to reshoot it. That was
that portion.
That portion.
Okay.
Because he's one of the most prolific writer and
amount of films he's done and legacy
all these
has
things happen too. So I give the room for his advice. Because of that, I put a background song. Then I put some music.
There's rain happening.
Everything
happening. Another interesting facet of Basha and your collaborations with Mr. Rajinikanth is that I remember you talking about how James Bond was a inspiration for the whole title sequence. And in Annamalai also you have Malada Annamalai. Here, interestingly, the villain says that line, Anthony, Mark Antony. So that's actually not, lot of films doesn't elevate the villain that much. Of course, the hero gets the elevation, gets the backgrounds for everything. But here, the character of Mark Antony had that elevation, had an arc, had a reason for what he did coming back into Manikam's life, and the music for him also it's probably many people's message tones or ringtones, everything. So how did that happen? Because it's probably one of the most formidable villains of Mr. Rajinikanth ever. So how did that sketching of Mark Antony happen?
See, I very strongly believe that if the hero has to be powerful, the villain has to be doubly powerful. Or else it doesn't work. The more you create him powerful, the clash will be good and the climax will be good. So Basha, he's actually an anti-hero. He's almost like a villain.
Correct.
So Basha himself is a villain. Who can be the villain the other side? He has to be. We were thinking of all Hindi villains. Names like Hindi at that time were popular. We're taking those names. But it was like, when you get a Hindi villain, there will be some plus and minus in it. Some people, suddenly you will feel a little alienated also. So one day the discussion with Rajini sir with me was, sir, why are we looking at that villain as from Hindi? See, our villain and Basha and Antony, the clash is on psychologically.
Correct.
There is no muscle in it. It has to be how I am going to out. That was the whole story. So why do you need an action hero? Action villain? That's a good point. Then somebody with presence is enough, sir. Then somebody will look like he can take on him. And the psychological game between these two, that will work. That time we discussed on having Raghuvaran. Now Raghuvaran has to do that role, so we should meet him, tell him. I'd never worked with Raghuvaran till that time. So that was a beautiful day when I met him at Raghu in his house in Nagambaka. And already there is a story about Raghuvaran, he's not the ordinary person. He will be silent, he will not talk. People created always a buzz about him. So whether he will talk properly, whether he will receive you, whether he will say get lost, we don't know. There was all kind of talk about him. But I met him and it was warm, so please sit down, coffee and all. Then I narrated the story. At least the basic second half and the whole thing. He listened to me For a good 20 minutes, I narrated. He didn't say a word. He was just silent. I said, wondered whether he liked it, didn't like it. I looked at his secretary, he didn't say anything. Then I said, I'm leaving. For that also, he didn't react.
Right.
So I just got up. Maybe he disliked it so much that he doesn't want to look at my face also, I thought. Then I just walked.
You walked away.
I walked out. I opened the door and I wore my shoe and I was about to go. Anthony, Mark Anthony, a voice came.
Right.
I said, he has sunk into that character. He was going into that. I didn't know that. And it was so, I turned and ran. Anthony, Mark Anthony. I said, sir, this is what you want, isn't it? Yes, sir. I'm doing it, man. Yes, and that is, he started that, Anthony, Mark Anthony. It was not the way he put it across. That should be signature. Whether it was Bond or what, the way he put it. Then immediately that scene, we said, let's put a contact lens. Let me have a beard. Let me look haggard. And the whole thing, the last portion was haggard. But when he comes in the first...
It's wow.
And there are not much dialogues for him. So we had to show his power like that, quickly. Good news. Bad news. The whole thing, everything was done.
Only one page dialogue for him. That's all. Yeah.
That's all. But the way he carried, the gateway scene is one of the iconic scenes.
Yeah.
And all you have to see is who is that frame. I mean, those two on frame was awesome. The villain and hero are there in the same frame and you want to clap for both. I think that's the best thing that can ever happen.
And Basha had very on-point casting. Like as in Annamalai, you had a different kind of Mr. Janagrad's role. Here you're completely different. This is not something you've genuinely seen. Like if you remember, the first time you see him as a funny guy in the auto, and then there is a flashback for him and how powerful he was. Yes. And then the whole henchmen, people around him. So how important was it for you to get that people around him right?
See, actually, all became fight masters after that. But they were all, they used to be fighters.
Correct. Yeah.
Shankar, Dinesh, Sardarji, everybody were fighters. So they all used to do some roles. Jana is somebody because there will be dialogues for, and he can do anything like that. He'll be a comedian, he'll do seriousness, everything is a splash. He's such a fine actor. So he became almost like every day in all my films. From Annamalai, Veera, Basha, always is there. And he was very friendly and the way he can turn his face into a comedy and seriousness in a flash, Rajini sir, we all loved him. So there, that scene with Anthony, the way he spoke and all, it was like a typical different from Otto Karan to Anthony. It's man, great. I mean, all these things, see, like in the first half, if you look at the second half, first half was created only for the second half.
Right, correct.
Everything.
Correct.
Those four people will be there. He will break one glass because Basha, Manikam is getting beaten. He can't fight. So we know that these people are there, that something is going to happen.
Everything leads up to second half.
The mystery to second half, if you keep in mind what to do in the first half. That was how we treated the screenplay. Interval splash, everything, they were there.
And even now when people talk about the pinnacle of screenplays in Tamil cinema, Basha finds a place. 30 years since, people still talk about that entire Basha's narrative where there's a hidden secret in the first half and then everything blows in second half. So I just wanted to ask you, like, how is it to find the ideas that you have, transition so many years, and people are talking academically about your screenplay. It's not just about the stardom is here or there is a elevation for in music, there's a visually. They talk about academic, they talk about writing. So not many superstar films, there is concentration on writing. They will talk about the stardom. So as a filmmaker, how do you feel when people talk about the writing of your film?
See, it's very happy because we were the first to do that kind of screenplay. That was why it is exciting, because other films are fine. But here was a superstar film, which is a confirmed pattern. Confirmed pattern.
For years together.
Years together. Annamalai itself, we changed it because it was not a villain, it was his own best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a different pattern we took. and best friend become foe, and the emotional part, but he still wants to bring down him, and then finally gives back to him.
Yeah.
These are all emotional, but here it was a strong villain,
Yeah.
and he has to live a life of camouflaging himself, disguise, where the world should not know. His own family, but for his stepmother, nobody knows
Yes.
who is he.
Proper Agyatavasam type of
That's
thing.
all.
Yeah.
So it is a very nice concept. But when you're trying experimenting with Rajinikanth, sir, it is difficult, dangerous.
Yeah.
Sir, in the fight, first fight, interval fight.
Yeah.
Comedy, regular comedy, no, there won't be any big comedy like the usual films. Nothing. There is a fight going on, then he's taking a U-turn and running away. So everything wrong, and he's getting beaten. So when you're breaking the rule and you're trying something, there is always a challenge. The highlight was first day, first show, Albert Theatre. I'm watching the film in 90. I'm talking of 95, not the 2017, 95. Yeah. Myself, the whole family, we all went there. And the upstairs was the whole premier audience were there. Down the fans were there. The film started. I was afraid of two things. Because RMB sir said getting beaten is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
But there I saw them clapping. The audience were clapping. I said, they know they is going to get hit back. Oh, whatever you want to do, do. And all the first half, there was this waiting. They were, unleashing. They knew it's going to come. And when the sister falls and he hits and the sister moves back, and the moment it's going to be food. And it was like the upstairs audience were also screaming.
Right.
It was too much. I mean, I didn't expect the cream of the film.
The premier audience to react that way. Yeah.
Then interval point, Jagannathan, famous director, he met me and it's a fantastic interval point. But if your second half does not match for this, you're done, he said.
Right.
Very correct. Because you're given the expectation of an unbelievable second half.
Yeah.
Who is he? Who is he? I mean, I have created a hype for that.
That will be the discussion in the interval. Everyone's talking about that.
Yeah. So when all these things you have created on paper is different, but on screen it is different. Yeah. Because the hype has gone to another limit, another height. But when it converted and become like that, then it becomes very happy for you. So today, how many films were done after that?
Right.
So many Telugu films, Malayalam films. Everybody have been doing this formula for quite long now, and still they're doing
this. And I think they will continue to do it because it's a successful formula.
So that experiment helps you to challenge yourself. Okay, when you try something like this, it works. But that is risky also because every time you can't do it.
Right.
Every time you can't do it.
And the very interesting thing about you as a director itself is that you've done films with superstars and then you move to another level of stardom. Your films have not been the same. Like every two films is not the same. There's difference. And you've directed some of the biggest stars of Indian cinema. So how do you understand making a superstar film? Because Basha is probably the gold standard of films with a superstar at the center. But then you have not done it once, you've done it twice, you've done it many times. Superstars across languages. Correct. So how is it to be a superstar director?
See, somewhere my life in Bombay helped in that. See, when you're young and when you're seeing movies, that always works on your psyche. Whether you want it or not, those films will remain. I still remember there was a book on best screenplay, how to write a screenplay, and there was one first question there. Write the best 10 films that comes to your mind immediately. That was the test I had to take in the book.
Yeah.
I just wrote. And all the films, 5-7 films were Diwar, Sholay, Trishul, Dawn, and Mass, and Godfather, all that kind. And then I have love stories. I loved Romeo and Juliet. I had write some cinema at that time, Mundrampare and all that. And so he said, these are the films that will always work for you. Because that is something psychologically, it has been part of your... Now this, I am taking it forward. When I come to regular cinema, all I had to do, I'll tell it in a joke, your question, that Annamalai we were doing, and there was a scene where, I'll tell you Basha scene only. Basha, that he comes to the DIG office and he throws everything.
Correct.
I told Rajini sir it's going to be single shot, sir. And I said one sentence, sir, Amitabh will do like this. Now, that was because I have seen Amitabh's works, and that was very natural for me to. Amitabh Bachchan nadipara. I can't act. Only Amitabh will like. No, sir, I didn't mean that. So that psychologically, he said, no, I understand what you're trying to say. I am also an ardent fan of Amitabh, sir. The idea is you want that intensity and that power. I'll get it. I'll give it to you. That is why that shot, if you look at it, the way he
throws
it was terrific. So this kind of psychologically, it has started working in your. Whether you want it, even a Subhash Ghai's round trolley, I'll always do.
Right.
It always comes to me. It is not that because I have seen that so many times. He loves, and the musical way of Subhash Ghai's work I always liked. I always done that. Raj Kapoor's narrative style will be there in my. These films have become my. Because I didn't go to any film institute or anywhere. I only worked with Balchandra sir. Balchandra sir said,
he makes different kind
of cinema. Somebody asked me, why don't you make films like Balchandra sir? I said, only he can do. I cannot do. But what I learned from him, the way he extracted performances from actors, his editing sense, unbelievable editing sense, and the way he had some shift focus, trolley shots, which is very, very rare. Only he can experiment with that. All that learning became very useful for me. So I coming from Institute of Balchandra sir, all my childhood pattern of cinema which I saw. When I came into real world of actually I became a director, I started, if you look at it, all those films will be either a musical or romance or
action dramas. And you love making action dramas, like
I put even the hero should be equally should have the capacity, because then only it works. Amitabh is there, and you make a script. Salim Javed used to make the script for him. They used to push him into that level. See, Zanjeer, when he was upcoming, they created that aura. After that, they continued in Deebar, when he continued in Sholay. He always keep pushing his superstardom to another level. So that is very important. That hero should have, like when I was doing, when Basha they wanted to do in Telugu. So Rajini sir suggested, let's do it Mohan Babu sir. I love Mohan Babu sir, he's a great actor.
You worked with him also.
Later only I worked. Then at that time I said, sir, I think it will be better for Chiranjeevi sir. Because that kind of cinema he is doing, he will suit this. He actually called, Rajini sir called Chiranjeevi to do Bhagam to the Miku. But he was stuck with 3 films at that time. Then they dubbed the film. It went on to become a sensational hit. So the point is, already that stardom should then Basha works.
Right.
So if you make a superstar film, an action film, there should be, if the image is there, it works. Then there's no image with a new star boy you have to bring in, then you bring a lot of other elements. It's not easy. This script will not match there. A Basha, if I'm doing it with a newcomer, it will not work.
Right.
You need auto stardom there.
Correct.
All you have to do is push the background. So every script had its own challenges, and when I did a Prema there, when I did a Satya here, when I did one Alavandan, every film has its own. When I did Aha Sangamam also, the joys to making different kind of scripts. That's it.
And then when people are now looking at your films, and for instance, I think every second day someone talks about Basha, someone talks about Aha also.
Yeah.
Like Rahman's birthday just happened now. People talk about Sangamam.
Correct.
You cannot not talk about your films in that sense. So when you now look back at what you have done, and of course Basha will be Basha, but when people come up to talk to you about, let's say, Aha or Sangamam, like what gives you more happiness? Like people talking to you about your films, or only talking about these kind of films?
See, I want them to talk all my films.
Right.
I wish it was available everywhere. Not all the films are available in all the OTTs or even in YouTube. Some are there, some are not there. The producers are also not there, so the films are also disappeared. So when they talk of Sangamam, I love. When they talk Aha, I love. Same way, I like other films which they talk about. But the point is, when they also analyze the film, so nalla irundadilla. Why? Like when, as a critic, you come now discussing with me, those elements when you talk about, oh, fine. I mean, those are the things which we have put an effort. Now you liked it, people have loved it over the years, so you're talking, it's like a fan thing. But when somebody talks critically about your film, then they say, sir, why did you do that particularly? Why was that created? So then the joy of understanding or studying your work now makes it more interesting. But yes, by new film is coming now. That will also will be a different challenge now. I did a very Carnatic singer story, a very unusual content actually. A Carnatic singer who gets Alzheimer's, and what happens?
Wow. Okay.
It's a first time me and Deva total Carnatic songs like a Shankarabharanam, like a Sindhu Bhairavi. Shankar Mahadevan sang the songs. Very, very cute, emotional, high drama. Maybe a mix of Aha and Sangama, maybe.
Aha, Sangama. But
they'll keep challenging, that's it.
But when you look back at, let's say, do you critically analyze your own films? Like, do you see Basha and say that this could have been different, or I should have done this, not this?
No, that way I don't see.
Okay.
Most of my old films I don't see.
Okay.
Even in TV it comes, I will not see. Some cuts, bits or something will come, I will see. Now, I saw Basha because they are planning to re-release the film this year again. So I had to go to the mixing theatre they have done it Dolby Atmos.
Oh, okay.
It was mind-blowing. I said, oh, we have done a good work. Because they had added tracks to that. Sounds have been affected, and 4K is looking terrific. I mean, brand new film. Important, what I liked is 30 years ago and 30 years when I'm seeing it, we're still updated. I didn't make a film which sometimes, over the years when you see it, it looks very old.
Yeah.
There's the way that it has been cut, the way it has been executed. It looks like still a well-graded, well-updated film. That satisfaction is there for me when I saw Basha. Yes.
I think that's a common thing across the filmography. Like, you look at Satya, it'll still be there. Basha, it's still there.
Yeah.
So finally, what I want to ask was, like, the camaraderie that you had with Mr. Rajinikanth before Annamalai was different. You're not worked with him.
Yeah.
Going on sets for the first time, you're meeting him, and you're doing this very, actually very personal film, because it's only about Annamalai's character and Ashok's. It's just been two people.
Yeah.
And that time, you were a different filmmaker. He was looking at you differently. But Basha traveled for 2-3 years by then, and then the first time you were repeating of actor consecutively in a film.
Yeah.
And then you both worked on the script. There's a huge different kind of a comfort level that you shared with him. So how was it, like, before and after Basha, your equation with Mr. Rajinikanth?
So I still remember when Annamalai came to me. I was not the director. 48 hours before I was supposed to... I mean, I walked in as a director and they said, you're directing it. And they don't even have a script. They just have a line. And I met that day Rajini sir in Sports Garden. I said, there's a lot of work, sir, the script, and day after is the shooting. We'll do it on the way, we'll do it. I said, okay. Then I called him and I said, I want to talk to you 2 minutes. There's a makeup room in his house. And I said, if a film has to be successful, the director and the actor should have a beautiful relationship. There should be no ego. I'm a very egoless person, a very friendly person. I believe any suggestions is welcome from you. My suggestions also you should accept. Let us travel together and make a hit film. That is my thing. I will have no egos. Anybody can suggest and we will just travel into that point he liked. He immediately shook hands. That's day 1, day 2, day 3. He knew that what I had spoken, that is why I was. I was laughing at the jokes. I was, and the way I was shooting was, you don't feel it shooting is going on. We were just enjoying, and he found that whole atmosphere so friendly. So by the time the first week was over and we were having just a chat and a coffee, he told me, Suresh, actually when Balchandar sir told that you have to direct because Vasant left the picture, actually I was not very excited because 1, you are Balchandar sir's assistant. 2, you have done Kamal sir's Satya. He makes class. His mass films has a different class.
Correct.
Mine is called local. Then people come drunk and tear his shirt, scream. That kind of audience I have. And you're that kind of film, how will you do my commercial cinema? I was worried. But today you showed me the 1 week and I've been only observing you. You are Manmohan Desai. So that hit off. After that, I was only watching because I've never worked with him, but I saw him before camera. Man was powerful, electricity, man. he could just give so much of intensity and power and the style, everything. I became his fan. Halfway through the film, I still remember there was a shot in it. Suddenly it will come, that scene, that his sister is getting beaten. There was no, in the screenplay, there is sudden scene. So how to start the scene? Phone call comes is the only way script is written. Then I said, sir, one small shot I'm taking. You're a rich man now. There is a foreground, there is a phone, shift workers, you're going up the staircase, you hear this phone sound and you come back. Why all this extra footage? Unnecessary. Phone will come, I'll take it, isn't it? Sir, I want you to walk your style of coming and you take style of picking the phone. What I'm talking is that I said, I become a fan. I want to see it. And the film is an opening, we need it.
Yeah.
Some slum length. And it worked. That shot is there when you go, sir, you'll do it. And after that, he'll go and so that I got the lag. We needed one pause there, a beat there, and over and above that, this style. After this, what happened? By the time the film, the way I edited it, the way I showed him and the logo and all that I did, he said, "You are pakka. You understand my audience," and we hit off immediately. Everything he has to tell, I will understand it. That kind of chemistry hit off. So Veera, we were freaking out, and Basha was there. So the chemistry between us was almost like he has to tell or he has to look and I understand. That kind of thing happened. That is why the whole hat-trick film we did, which was like awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a lovely talking to you, and like when most of the time you were narrating something, I had goosebumps. If you actually focus, you had to see me having goosebumps talking about Basha. It's a personal favorite, and it's so nice to talk to you on such an important day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you.